Good morning, love. You can start on your mat, just sitting, ground yourself, find your center. Just shift your glutes from your sitting bones so you can root down into your seat. And begin to slow your breathing down. You can close your eyes. Michael, can you give me a thumbs up if the music is good or down if it's too loud? So just inhale, start to swing your shoulders forward and then up towards your ears. Pause at the top of your breath. And exhale, begin to bring your shoulders back behind you and down. And pause at the bottom of your breath, really draw your shoulders down. Inhale, swing them forward. All the way up. Pause at the top. And exhale, shoulders back and down. Energetically draw them down and pause at the bottom of your breath. Inhale forward and up, linking your movement with your breath. Can you slow your breathing down? Follow your own unique rhythm. Starting to warm up the shoulders. And deepen our breathing. On your next exhale, pause at the bottom and inhale your shoulders back behind you and up. And exhale them forward and down. Pausing at the top and bottom of your breath and really stretching those shoulders in whatever direction they're going. On your next exhale, come into stillness. Bring your palms together at heart center. This class is going to be about opening up, and sometimes that can be really uncomfortable. When we have our walls, our protective masks, our shields that keep us feeling safe, it can be completely disarming and terrifying to remove those barriers, or to even think that we may have them and that they're limiting us. So the difference between what helps us grow and what hurts us is the difference between discomfort and pain. We never want to move into pain. We always want to move into discomfort and really just meet ourselves at that limit of our discomfort. So find your limits. We don't push past our limits, which disrespects them. We meet ourselves at our limits. And we just get to know them. And every time we go to meet our limits, they'll be just a little bit further. And you'll find slowly but surely that you're opening up. And when we open up to the world of possibilities around us, we get to choose, truly choose what we want, what we love, and lead with our hearts towards it. now into your heart and give yourself a thanks for coming here today to practice uniting with yourself. You can drop your hands and reach your right hand for the left side of your head. And inhale to fill your neck, exhale, begin to guide your head down with your hand. So you're not pulling your head, you're guiding it. Breathe into the side of your neck and energetically draw your left shoulder down as with your right hand you guide your head towards your right shoulder. So it's important that we're not pulling here, we're not pushing, we're simply guiding. Send your breath into your neck and imagine that your breath can inflate the parts of your neck that are tight and tense. And with every exhale, release that tension. One more breath here. Use your right hand to your right ear to guide your head up so we don't strain the muscles that we just stretched. Take a moment to elevate your head from the crown of your skull, lengthening your neck and lining it up with the rest of your spine. Take your left hand to the outer edge of the right side of your head and guide your left ear to your left shoulder as you energetically draw your right shoulder down. Breathe your air into any tight spaces you can find in your neck. One more breath here. Make it count. And exhale, take your left hand to the left side of your head and guide your head back to neutral. Feel the length from the crown of your head like a string is going up through your spine. And let that string elevate you. Feel your strength even in this seated position. How you can both surrender and be soft, and hold yourself and be strong. You don't have to compromise softness to get yourself into alignment. Roll over onto your hands and knees and tuck your toes under. Spread your fingertips wide, making sure that your wrist creases are lining up with the top of your mat, so they should be parallel. That usually means that rather than your middle finger pointing forward, it's actually kind of right in between your pointer finger and your middle finger. That's actually what lines up with the center of your wrist crease. So point the center of your wrist creases forward. The inner lining of your hands should come to about the outer edge of your shoulders to support your upper body. And your toes are curled under to protect your knees. So just pedal your hands into the mat for a moment. Feel the foundation in your hands. Really plug your fingertips into your mat, clawing them. And that helps you ground into the four corners of your palms. Inhale, drop your belly, lift your sitting bones, lift your gaze. This is your cow pose. And exhale, curve your spine towards the ceiling. Tailbone comes in, gaze looks in. Cat pose. Inhale to cow. And exhale to cat. Warming up the spine, follow your own unique breath rhythm. Take 2 more slow breaths here and try to move slower than you want to. Meaning you're also taking slower breaths. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Make sure your breath is audible, almost like a sigh. Come into a neutral spine. Inhale, begin to lift your knees off the mat just an inch. Then another inch. And then exhale, push your hips up and back, inverted V, downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet here. Breathe into your hamstrings. Push into your hands to make sure that your ears come between your biceps, straightening out your upper back. And just pedal your feet for a moment, breathing. Make sure you have equal weight in both of your hands and come into stillness. Inhale your right leg up behind you and exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Staying high onto the ball mound of your back foot, you can either drop your back knee for support if you need to, or you can stay high onto your back foot. And inhale, reach your arms up and overhead, crescent lunge. So your back toes should look like this. Your heel is elevated above the ball mound of your foot, and the back of your thigh is strong. So your back leg, your left leg, should be strong and engaged. Shoulders engaged onto your back, so they're not, your shoulders are not up by your ears like this. That means that your arms may come a little bit wider. Face your palms toward each other and see if you can spin your pinkies even a little bit back. That brings your shoulder blades onto your back and opens up your heart just a little bit more. Inhale, see if you can elevate your heart. And exhale, support yourself as you lean back into a little bit back bend. Inhale to rise, and exhale, plant your hands to frame your front foot and step back into a downward facing dog. Pedal your feet out. Come into stillness and inhale, lift your left leg up and back behind you. Exhale, step your left foot between your hands, stay high onto the ball mound of your back foot. Drop your knee if you need to. Strengthen the back of your right thigh and inhale, lift your leg, lift your torso up, arms come up, palms in and pinkies twisting back. Feel your shoulder blades onto your back, feel the strength in your core, and draw your tailbone down. So make sure your tailbone is not flipping back to point to the back of the room, but it's rather drawing down to root yourself from the earth. Inhale and begin to open up to the ceiling, expanding your chest, and exhale, supporting yourself into a slight back bend. Inhale to rise and exhale, plant your hands, step back into a downward facing dog. Inhale, shift your weight into your hands so you're in a high plank position, and draw your right knee towards your left elbow and kick your heel back into a three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to belly and back. And exhale, knee to right elbow, and drop your knee by your right wrist here. So that way your right knee is on your beside your right wrist, and your right foot is coming towards your left hip flexor. Your back toes are still curled under. So you're in a high pigeon pose here. You can reach for blocks if you need to, or have balancing objects around you. And just begin to melt forward. So this is where your blocks come in handy. You can have stacked blocks here to rest your forehead onto,
Or you can come all the way down to your hands, sleeping pigeon. Energetically draw your right glute back as if you're pulling it to the back of the room, and breathe into your outer right hip. One more breath here. Press into your hands. You can come up a little bit and see if you can bring your shin towards the front of the mat just a little bit more. So untucking it somewhat from your hip flexor. See if you can bring it forward and begin to flex your toes. And see if you can now melt again. This is going to be a little bit harder, more of a stretch. Maybe you don't go as low. That's okay. Meet yourself at your limits. Don't make them wrong. And breathe into those tight spaces. Breathe and everything changes. Press into your hands. Curl your back toe under if it wasn't already, and step back into a downward facing dog. Pedal out your heels and notice any difference between your legs. With a desire to create balance, inhale to a high plank and draw your left knee to your left elbow. Push your leg back up into a three-legged dog. And exhale, draw your left knee to your belly. High plank. Inhale back, three-legged dog. And exhale, draw your left knee to your left elbow and drop your left knee by your left wrist crease. Your left foot comes into your right hip crease and your toes stay curled under. Find your position here and forward fold. Sleeping pigeon. Press into your hands. And just like before, see if you can draw your shin forward a little bit, almost parallel with the front of your mat or as far as you can get it, and begin to flex your toes towards your knee. Once again, exhale, fold. You're going to feel this in the outer left hip. Breathe into those tight spaces. Do not make them wrong. Lean into discomfort, never pain. And this is how we grow. Know that whatever discomfort you're feeling right now, you'll have to go just a little bit further to find next time. And that's growth. Inhale, press into your hands and press up and back into a downward facing dog. Pedal your feet out and breathe. Come high onto your toes at the back and roll that height forward into a super high plank, coming up onto the tips of your toes. And then roll your weight back onto the ball mounds of your feet. And then shift your weight back towards the front, high plank, tips of your toes. And exhale, come back high into the ball mounds of your feet, downward dog. Do that 2 more times. Coming forward onto the tips of your toes and back onto the high ball mound of your feet in your downward dog. Tips of your toes in high plank and back into downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg up behind you. Bend your knee and exhale, stack your hips so your knee is pointing towards the ceiling. Feel the opening along the right side of your hip. And exhale, step your right foot between your hands. This time, step your left foot a little bit forward and your right foot a little bit to the right. So you're in a bit of a shorter stance and your feet are staggered rather than in line with one another. Your back foot is on a 45-degree angle pointing to the corner of the room. And your legs are staggered, almost like you're on skis. Lunge into your front foot, draw your tailbone down, and strengthen the back of your back thigh. So you should be feeling this along the front of your hip. Inhale, lift your arms up and overhead, shoulders onto your back. Pinkies spin back. This is your warrior one. Breathe here and energetically draw this hip back. So you should be feeling it in the front of your hip and breathe into that space. Straighten your front leg. And with a micro bend, holding your knee so that it doesn't hyperextend back, fold over your front knee to the inside of your right foot and let your head hang and drip. You can lift the toes on your front foot to activate the arch of your foot and feel that big toe ball mound plugging into the ground for support. Gently lower your toes to the ground and maintain that same engagement in your foot. Breathe into the back of your leg. One more breath. Bend into your front knee and come up to stand. Bring your back foot to meet your front foot and inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. Exhale, palms together and down through heart center and alongside your hips. Inhale again. Exhale, palms together down through heart center and forward fold. Let your body hang. Your knees are soft. Maybe pedal out your legs, just feeling the stretch along the left and then the right side of your body as you straighten and bend one leg at a time. Inhale, halfway lift, shoulders onto your back, neck comes back, and exhale, fold. Plant your hands and step back into a high plank position. Tuck your elbows into your sides. You can drop your knees if you need to and lower down to the mat. Inhale, press into your hands and give yourself a slight back bend. This is your cobra. And exhale, melt to the mat. Inhale, press into your hands, slight back bend. And exhale, fold. 3 more of these. Inhale, press, exhale, fold. Feel the engagement of your posture muscles on your back. And last one. Come up onto your knees. And send your glutes towards your feet. So your toes should still be curled under and your glutes are coming towards your heels. Tent your fingers like you've got cupcakes under your hands and you don't want to ruin that frosting, and melt your heart to the earth. Melt your forehead. Maybe you can sway from side to side a little bit and feel the stretch in your back as your heart opens up and melts to the earth. Come into stillness in your puppy dog. Lift the underlining of your arms. Imagine that you can lift your shoulder blades towards each other and how that allows your heart to melt just a little bit more forward. Come up through tabletop position and roll over onto your glute, your left glute. Make sure that your left shin is parallel to the front of your mat and flex your left toes towards your left knee. Your right knee comes out alongside your right hip. And then extend your leg so that your right foot comes just a little bit past your right knee. Rather than being inside your right knee, it's just a little bit to the outside. Grow along through your torso. Feel the sides of your body lengthen and elevate you. And then exhale, fold over your front leg. Draw your left hip back energetically as you fold. And breathe into your outer left hip. Press into your hands and come up to sit. Bring both knees in towards your belly and just give yourself a hug. Take this opportunity to actually genuinely give yourself a little bit of a hug. We don't send ourselves that love enough. So bring the front of your right shin parallel to the front of your mat. Bring your left knee out alongside your left hip and make sure your left foot is just outside of your left knee. So that rather than bending and coming inwards, it's just a little bit wider. Feel the sides of your body grow long. And exhale, fold over your leg, energetically drawing your right hip back. Can you breathe into that space? Remember your right toes are flexed towards your right knee. Press into your hands. You can roll yourself over onto your knees, tuck your toes under, and press up and back into a downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up and back behind you, and exhale, step your right foot to the outer edge of your right hand. You can drop your knee, untuck your back toes, and maybe grab blocks here as you begin to melt to the earth. This is your lizard pose. So you can come onto some balancing objects, some stacked books, some blocks here to rest your elbows, or you can stay high onto your hands and just melt into this pose. So find your bus stop, find your limit, and respect it as you need it. The stretch is in your outer left hip, in the front of your left hip, and maybe in your right hip. The hips hold our capacity for creativity, for passion, for intimate connection. So allow yourself to open up here. See if you can energetically draw the nape of your neck back, the part of your neck that meets your skull. Draw that part of your neck back without drawing your head back, so your gaze is always in line with your heart. Awesome. Press into your hands. Shift your weight back onto your, sending your glutes towards your back foot, and just flex your front foot towards your face. And breathe into the back of your right leg for a moment. See if you can melt your torso just a little bit over your front leg. Beautiful. Rock forward so you're in a tabletop position. Bring both knees to the mat. Curl your toes under and press up and back into downward facing dog. Inhale your left heel up and back behind you. And exhale, step your left foot to the outer edge of your left hand. And you can bring your knee to the mat Untuck your toes. You can shift your knee back a little bit if you need to. And find your bus stop. Melt towards the earth. Remembering your breath. Breathe into the front of your right hip. And imagine that your hips are opening diagonally. Press into your hands to elevate yourself. And bring your your left knee to the earth. Roll over onto your glutes. And then roll onto your back. Bring your knees in towards your belly, grab your shins, and just rock from side to side. Giving yourself a little low back massage. Massaging the kidneys. Breathe and feel the gravity of the earth holding you and lovingly massaging you. Bring your arms to the inside of your knees and reach for the outer edge of your feet. Press into your feet with your hands and simultaneously press against your hands with your feet. So you're creating an isometric contraction in your hips. This helps strengthen and stretch at the same time. Breathe into your hips. You can rock here if you want to. Find some movement in your hips. Explore this area. Or you can come into stillness and explore your limits just by pulling and pushing and meeting them. Bring the soles of your feet together. Drop them to the earth. Bring your hands behind your head and with your thumbs, give yourself a little bit of a neck massage. You can flutter your legs a little bit here, or you can take your hands and just gently rest them on your thighs to help them open up a little bit. So you can be flapping them and finding a feminine, creative movement, or you can hold them and rest against them with a masculine movement or energy. You can explore both. Extend your legs. Have your feet wider than hip width apart. Maybe scoot your tailbone down first so that that lower back curve reduces, and let your feet fall to the sides of the room. Tuck your shoulder blades behind you so that it brings them closer together and allows your palms to flip towards the ceiling. Ujjayi breath. Can you make your breath really audible here? Inhale through your nose audibly and exhale through your nose audibly. These are your cleansing breaths, your empowering breath. You both your calming and your energizing breath. With this next breath, fill the base of your belly first, all the way up, expanding your chest as far as it can go. And exhale the air from the top of your chest, working down until you empty it out from your lower belly. So let your belly expand a lot here. With every exhale, imagine that you're emptying out toxins, blockages, stagnant energy, old beliefs, anything that's holding you back. Can you let it go? Can you be ready to let it go? Those things are not who you are. They're in the way. Can you be willing to stop identifying with those things? And know that when you stop identifying at all, you are what's left. Can you be willing to just be without the need for identity and labels or judgments or barriers? No matter what, you are. Let your breathing relax and come into stillness. Allow yourself for this next couple of moments to just feel what it feels like to be you without anything in the way. If any thoughts pop up or any worries, any feelings, don't make them wrong. Just let yourself experience them as a witness. There's no need to identify with it. Can you witness? Can you feel? And just be. Begin to find some movement in your fingers and toes, wiggling them. Wake up your hands, your feet, your wrists and ankles. Bring your feet together below you and your hands together above you and give yourself a stretch. See how long you can go. How long can you make your body? And then roll over onto your right side using your bicep as a pillow. Rest here for a moment, giving your heart a little bit of a break. And then press into your hands and come up to a seated position.
Comfortably on your mats. Find your foundation, find your alignment. Bring your palms together. As you press into your hands, can you also press into your shoulder blades, imagining that your shoulder blades are drawing together as your hands are drawing together? And imagine all the potential energy that your hands can hold. Can you send some love to your heart? Charging yourself up like a battery. You are, not to sound cheesy, but I know I'm sounding cheesy, but you are a universe. Your whole body, your inner world, it is as expansive as a universe, truly. And you hold such infinite potential, just like the universe. Can you allow yourself to open up to the possibilities that are right in front of you and all around you? By letting go of what is not serving you. Meet yourself at your limits and just get to know what they are. Because when we explore our limits, we allow ourselves to also explore our infinite potential. Bow into your hearts and thank yourself again for coming today. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope you have a blessed day. The light and shadow in me bows to and acknowledges the light and shadow in each of you. Namaste. Thank you so much for coming, everyone. I hope you have an awesome day.